In today's video, we'll talk about the forEach array method. And now, as the name implies, the forEach array method is simply a forEach loop, but in array method form. I'm sure you've heard of it, but for completion's sake, let's cover it here and all its details. So, to start off, I have here a simple array of objects, and every single object has an income and the number of items sold. And what we want to do here is to actually sum all of them up. So I want to sum the income individually and sum the items sold. Now you might have seen this example before where we have summed a list of numbers inside the reduce array method video that you can check up top if you want. But this is different since you have to sum both variables in parallel. You don't really want to reduce them both because that's going to be more computational work. So to do this, we first need to create a few variables. So let's say total income, which is initialized with 0, and let's say total sold. To start using the forEach method, what you have to do is first array.forEach, and this guy is a method that takes in a callback, and that callback is called for every single element in the list, right? So we can create here an anonymous function that takes in as parameter our elements, so every single object here, and sums them all up. So sums every single, so it adds to this total sum here. So we're gonna say total income plus equals lm dot, and we know that it has the field income, and same thing for total sold, right? lm dot sold, not item sold. There we go. So now if we try to print on the console the total income and our total sold, if we run this, you'll notice we get 160 and 39. So that's what? That's 100 plus 50 plus 10, so that's 160, and 15 plus 5 is 20, 20 plus 19 is 39. So that's the correct answer. So we know that the forEach method actually is not some sort of asynchronous way of iterating over elements. It's just simply a forEach loop. This can be converted into a forEach loop, but if you so desire, you can actually use it as the array method. Now we said we're going to go in detail a bit about it. So first things first, this callback can take not just one but 3 parameters. So you can take the index of the element, so you can say here index, and our current array. So if we would so desire, we can do computations based on the index that we're iterating over. We don't have to actually use, for example, array.indexOf, where I see so many people do that, and that's just bad practice. So you can use simply the index parameter here, and for example, we can try to multiply this by the index, and we're gonna get an income of what? Pause here for a second to calculate how much we should get here. All right, so if you calculate it, it's very simple. So we got 70 because why? This is the element at index 0, so it's 0 times 100, which is 0. This is element at index 1, which is 1 times 50. And then this is element at index 2, which is 2 times 50, so that's 50 plus 20, which is 70, right? So that works, right? So we get the index in the callback function. Another thing that you can do, and few people know about, is that you can actually specify the this keyword inside, or the this value inside the callback function. So if we pass in as the second parameter to our forEach call, where's the second parameter? Well, that's after the function definition here. So we're gonna say comma, and here we're gonna pass our array. So now if we actually console log this, we're gonna get our array printed on the screen multiple times. So you'll notice, right, we get it 3 times because there are 3 elements inside our array. But as you can see, we actually passed it as the this parameter. So you can actually set it through the forEach array method. You don't have to bind the anonymous function anymore. Now, if you really need the this value from outside the callback function, so if in here you actually have a this value that you want to access inside here, I suggest you use arrow functions instead of anonymous function in this case. So you can say here like that and just kind of have an arrow here, and we can remove this second parameter. So if you actually run this, we're going to see that we actually get a this that is just an empty object. That's because of how the forEach call is being made. Now, I suggest against using the short-handed way of creating arrow functions this way, because let's say we wanted to just execute a single statement. Just let's say we wanted to calculate the sum of all the incomes, right? So then we wouldn't have all this, and then since it's just one single statement, you can actually use the shorter hand version of the arrow function, right? You can do something like this and just remove the brackets. It's fine from a functional perspective, but really the arrow function actually returns this result, and that's, I think it's not desirable, and it doesn't suggest that from the code itself, and people might get confused about it if they don't really know about arrow functions, right? So use it if you want, but I think it's a bit on the gray area, right? And that's about it with the forEach array method. I hope you got something out of this video. If you have any questions, do leave them down in the comments below or on our Discord server. See you guys next time. Take care. Bye.